Lassa fever is a viral hemorrhagic fever caused by RNA virus of the Arenavirus family. It is most common in a large region of West Africa and is named after the Nigerian town Lassa in Borno State, where it was first discovered by Western medical professionals in 1969. It is animal-borne and the vector is a species of rat named mastomys natalensis. Besides Nigeria, it is endemic in Guinea, Liberia and Sierra Leone. It is also found periodically in neighboring countries due to the distribution of the rat's habitats over the whole region.
By every distinction, this infection has some similarities with Ebola virus disease, which has been like a sing-song not long time ago in Nigeria, because both are hemorrhagic diseases. But prior to then, history had it that about 10 years before then, there had been sporadic outbreaks of Lassa fever in different West African countries, specifically in Sierra Leone. There have been several episodes over there. But the final isolation was done in Nigeria in 1969. And it is a zoonotic disease because the reservoir or the carrier is primarily animals, rodents, which is rats. But it's not every rat that really carries Lassa fever. Specifically, the rat that we call the multimammate rat. It's multimammate because it has multiple breasts, within the chest. If you turn the chest surface, you can see up to 12 pairs of breasts all lined up in the ventral surface of this rodent. And if you take a closer look at the rodent, which is also known as mastomys natalensis, you realize that it has a very long tail. And one other feature about this rat is that it's an animal that when it gets agitated, it easily passes feces and urine. So when it gets easily agitated. And that takes us to the mode of transmission. So the mode of transmission is through the droppings of this rat, through the urine or through the feces. If it gets contaminated to human food or drinks, then this virus can get into human.
Statistics show that the mortality due to Lassa fever is about 5,000 deaths a year out of 100,000 to 300,000 cases. The death rate depends on the severity of illness. Up to 20% of hospitalized patients die of the infection, but the mortality shoots up to 50% during an epidemic. In contrast, about 1% of all infected cases die. The virus is found in the urine and feces of infected rats for possibly the whole lifetime of the animal. This rat is widespread throughout the forests and grasslands of West and Central Africa. It is also common inside homes and food storage areas, leading to a high frequency of transmission to humans. Experts explain that the routes of infection include ingestion of food contaminated with rat urine or feces, person-to-person contact via sweat, blood, feces, urine or other body fluids, among others.
Somebody who is suffering from acute hemorrhagic fever, Lassa fever, if it comes in contact with other normal people, the tendency that it can easily get transmitted through the same body fluid, the saliva, the sweat, the feces, the urine of such a person, and the blood. That's why hospital workers are usually at the mercy of contracting this disease when they are managing and they're not aware of what they're managing. So that's, in a nutshell, the mode of transmission. A bimodal seasonal way of transmission, usually during dry season when bushes are getting burnt, so they'll be agitated and they'll be running for their life. So they'll want to come to living homes and take shelter.
Medical experts say the symptoms take up to 3 weeks to manifest and are so mild as to be ignored in about 80% of cases.
A lot of efforts have been made in the past at curbing this. As I said, it comes and goes. At the time, you will see some massive migration of the rodents. Nobody will be able to predict when they are coming, when they are going to cause their havoc and all that. And that's why we're advocating that we should look at this series and sequences of taking care of this, which will finally take us to the level of developing vaccine. A lot of effort has been ongoing, especially in Ivoire Specialist Teaching Hospital. They have collaborated with a lot of renowned institutes outside the country working towards developing this, and even developing a rapid kit that you'll be able to use to make immediate and early diagnosis, just like malaria today, that you can have a drop of blood and you'll be able to make diagnosis. These are areas that really need to be looked into.
Record shows that there was an outbreak in 2012 affecting many communities in Nigeria, with intermittent cases afterwards, with figure of mortality minimally low. On mode of treatment, medical practitioners revealed that antiviral drugs have been used successfully to treat Lassa fever. However, the earlier a person presents himself or herself for diagnosis, the better the outcome of treatment. But for the recent outbreak that started at the tail end of 2015 that has put government on its toes, experts and policymakers describe past efforts at managing the epidemic as not encouraging.
I think the problem we have in this country has been there. It is this fire brigade approach. Now, you mentioned Ebola. The Ebola came and we fought tooth and nail and contained it. Now, what happens after that? Everybody is back to his seat. Because there are three stages we are talking about: the pre-outbreak, the outbreak, and the post-outbreak. Now, what do you do to prevent the outbreak? Have we had substantial enlightenment, awareness program? No. The Minister of State said the other day that the only hospital we have that can handle Lassa fever is the Ivoire hospital. That is a shame. In a country of 36 states, including FCT, that we have only one hospital that can, and that hospital is not even well funded. Now, what stops this country for having a specialized health institution that deals on communicable diseases? In each state, well funded with trained personnel.
Some policymakers whose areas have been affected by the recent outbreak commended the response of government so far, but however called for awareness campaign and improved budgetary allocation for the health sector and other relevant agencies to position them better for proactive measures to nip any such incident in future in the bud before a major outbreak like the current situation.
In future, not only Lassa fever, but any other disease that is preventable, the federal government should take the necessary steps to make sure that these diseases are prevented from occurring in the first place. They are preventable. So what we need to do is to take proactive steps. And this was like in this country. We don't take steps to avert an impending crisis.
You prepare the people, and then of course you start telling rural dwellers, please don't put your agricultural products, don't dry your fish, don't dry your cassava, on the road, okay, don't dry your crayfish on the road, where rats will come and interact with them, or other rodents go and interact with them, okay, they can infect them. You start the education, okay? And then if you do that, you will have prepared the people sufficiently. And when you now have, infection or anything, it will be minimal. And then the few persons that will be there when they get to the hospital, they are already waiting for them prepared. That this one, and let the people know the symptoms.
We have different research institutes. By now, they would have researched and tried to find a cure, or at least something close to it, but that was never done. That may be because it was limited to a few states. Now, it is now in 14 states, I understand, in the 5 geopolitical regions of Nigeria. But the worst thing about it is that most of our people still live in rural area. Even those who live in town, a lot of people live in squalor, and rats are all over the place.
Most of our ailments come from environmental sanitation and the kinds of food we eat. So the government needs to create more awareness on such, issues. And that will help a lot because it will solve most of the problem. It will only occur when it has to, and to only a few.
Although not new to most Nigerians, they emphasize the need for Nigerians to observe good personal hygiene, including hand washing with soap and running water regularly, disposal of waste properly, and cleaning of the environment so that rats are not attracted, as well as storage of food in rat-proof containers and cooking food thoroughly before eating.